Hey, Max Living Faithful. Looking forward to coming to you with our upcoming metabolism two-part masterclass here from Chiropractic First of Rockford and Integrative Medical of Rockford. Really, you think about metabolism so many times, in January, February, kicking off the new year, it's time to get serious. It's time to take off a few of those pounds that maybe you put on during the holidays, put on during COVID, whether that's holiday parties, staying in, Netflix binging. You've probably heard the stats, but 40% of Americans gained 30 pounds the first chunk of the pandemic, whatever it might be. But usually the new year is the time to get serious. It's the time to take it more serious, more focused, more whatever you want to call it. And so while I 100% agree and think that this is a great time to really ingrain those habits back in that maybe you already had, or just take a closer look. It's also very clear that most people have given up this concept of New Year's resolution. So actually making a huge change in the beginning of the year, I always survey people and lots of people say, the resolution I made was not to have one, or, something like that. And again, I'm all for that if you're getting back into habits that you've already worked on establishing, previous. The risk is, or the debate is by giving up this New Year's resolution concept, or not making a mental decision to be better, is that unfortunately, America is less healthy than it ever has been in our entire existence. The last 2 years have been the worst decline in any short-term period in history. People are sicker, and not just infection sicker. They are sicker. There's more heart attacks than there has been in a long time. The highest increase of heart attacks, which means increased inflammation, increased weight gain, and of course, it's not just in the adults. Kids, look at the stats, and I'm going to be very blunt. Kids are fatter than they've ever been. They are less healthy, less able to run. It's just crazy if you look at it. And so for so many people, we're just avoiding looking at it. But the reality is you can't control the world, but you can control your little world. You can control your family. You can control what you put in your body and what you buy at the grocery store, and how you treat your body as a temple, or whatever you might be. And so today is a really important aspect of digging into what can you do to not necessarily lose the weight, but be healthy, have a healthy metabolism. Because there is a reality that our current system, whether you talk about the medical system or the drug system or the fear-based system or the ease system, it's setting humans up to be in really rough shape. And so I think Benjamin Franklin got the quote, like, whenever you find yourself in the majority, pause and reflect, because for adults, take this statistic in. Just think about, should you listen to this? For adult Americans, 88% have a metabolic disorder. 88%. That's the majority. That's not supposed to happen. That would be like if you looked at rhinoceroses, and instead of being the figure that you're used to seeing carved in, they were like 3 feet wider in the back. They had all this excess body fat. They couldn't move. They couldn't hunt. They couldn't metabolize the food that they're eating. Americans are so out of whack that 88% of people, literally, their bodies don't work the way they're supposed to. And so if you think you might fall into that 88%, I would encourage you, take some time to pause and reflect. And so that's really where we're going with this today. Our mission at Chiropractic First, Integrative Medical, and Max Living, our goal is to be the answer for people in natural healthcare for everything except emergencies and surgeries. Our goal is to help people live longer, healthier, be there for their grandkids, have energy, enjoy the things they do, retire well, not live in chronic pain, not be a slave to drugs, and to live not in fear, but in faith and in hope, and really live their best lives and best self. So I've divided this a couple of different ways over these next two master classes. Number one, we're going to give you a ton of great free assessments and resources and action items. We're also going to give you next level action steps that is the top tier of what's available in natural healthcare to help get you either back on track or maybe even just in even better shape. So number one, starting Monday, we are going to give the opportunity for 40 people to do what's called a life risk questionnaire. So if you want to do the life risk questionnaire, just reply in the comments or send us a direct private message or shoot us an email or mention it at the office. But we are going to give 40 people the opportunity to do something called a life risk questionnaire, where it goes through and assesses what aspect of your health do you need the most focus on to get to where you want to go. So talk about your goals, talk about action steps, and see what you need to do to be at that next level. So like I said, starting Monday, you take that, and then you're also going to have the opportunity to sit down with Mackenzie, who has a full bachelor in nutrition, and she's going to go through this with you. And also, if there's anything that we need to go into more detail with, your doctor will go through that with you as well, or we can set you up for further testing. So the life risk questionnaire is a great opportunity. So for the first 40 people to respond are going to have that opportunity. And then additionally, we're going to have a layout, a couple of different challenges. And then also we're going to give you the opportunity to have your body composition assessed, to test your metabolic age, it's called. So how well you are functioning or metabolizing based on your age compared to the average. So we have a multiple $1,000 scale that can look at your body water percentage, your body fat percentage, your visceral fat or your bad fat. And you'll have the opportunity to do that in the clinic as well. So we're really looking to take action and see change, really see people get the best outcomes they possibly can. So those are some of the things that we're going to cover today. As we kick this off, one of the things that I think is important to remember, one of the things that I love about our clinic is being in a environment where health is the focus can help you make better decisions. One of the most common, I'm just going to flat out say, excuses that I hear people say is, well, my family won't do it, or my husband cooks for me and he doesn't cook what I want him to cook, or my husband won't eat it, or and I'm not just blaming husbands here, but as I certainly am one. But what I'm bringing up or what I'm pointing out is people tend to pull towards their group that they spend more time with. So if you need a group, if you need support, we are more than happy to help support you through this process. Our staff or doctors will help follow up with you and celebrate the positive actions that you've made. This quote on the slide, if you can't see it, it says, "Your most important success factor, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." And that's a quote from many, many practitioners, but it's famously quoted frequently by the famous Jim Rohn, who was the predecessor to Tony Robbins, and just a brilliant guy. And I have certainly found that to be true in my professional life, my social life. And so we want to be the help or support for you. Now, let's talk about some areas. Why does metabolism matter? There are some people, and you guys probably all know somebody who they can eat 12 cupcakes a day for a month and they don't gain a pound. And there's somebody else who looks at a cupcake and they feel like they gain a pound. They go through the holidays and they just they always seem to get really inflamed and gain a bunch of weight, and it's always just trying to get back to neutral. There was a study a few years ago that showed that the average person gains around 10 pounds specifically in the holidays, and they tend to lose somewhere between 7 to 9 of those as adults. And so from 30 to 50, that's how people tend to put on 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds. And they say, when I was young, I was thin and fit, but now, that just kind of happened over time. So it's usually not that somebody puts on 40 pounds in a year or 30 pounds in a year, like so many Americans did during the pandemic here, but it's more of a slow, gradual thing. And the decisions that people make can really set their body up to, you could maybe even do the same thing year after year and have this slow decline in outcome. And so, for instance, if you look at this slide here for just a moment, these are some of the areas that people tend to have negative responses in as they age. And so we're going to go through each one. So first of all, hormones and stress. For women, menopause. So as you get older, you tend to burn out your stress hormone response. You tend to have more cortisol. Now you think about it, it's unfortunately due to our life or lifestyle. It's not that has to happen, but whether it's looking on Facebook or Instagram, whether it's whether it's a high stress job, always tracking, where your kids are, whatever it might be, cortisol released by your adrenal glands both throws off your sex hormones, and it can throw off your thyroid, and it can cause you to gain fat in unhealthy areas. This is the hormone that's most linked to belly fat, hip weight in women, or adding adipose into the butt region, or whatever you might say. But actually, a lot of people do things that create this. So it's not just mental stress for cortisol, it's also physical stress. So like the chronic consumption of caffeine, drinking a pot of coffee a day, not getting enough sleep, using energy drinks. These are all also contributors to having high stress hormones. Additionally, toxicity can really throw the thyroid gland off. So the thyroid gland is the most sensitive to toxicity. So when people are consuming non-organic foods, high processed foods, cheap food at restaurants, any of that kind of stuff, over time that can damage the thyroid. It can damage your best metabolism center that really regulates your metabolism. Additionally, toxicity, inflammation, and stress all can throw off your sex hormones. So for instance, for women, as they get older and go through menopause, they tend to retain weight because the estrogen is supposed to switch from being produced in, let's say, your sex organs, and it's supposed to be produced in by your adrenal glands more. And these things, if they're already burnt out, they just flat out don't work. So support for these things is a big deal, because unfortunately most people aren't going to have the opportunity to be perfect, whether it's the job that you choose, the profession that you love, the children that you bear, the spouse that you're with, the friends, the colleagues, the watching the news. I mean, talk about a great way to have high stress for no reason. The news article that makes headlines, when it's retracted, it doesn't get the same amount of play across all the things, like the 73% of over-reporting, if some of you know what I'm talking about. Turns out we fabricated a bunch of stuff to scare people. Turns out that, heart disease is still the top killer, or whatever you want to say. Like, this causes huge amounts of stress for lots of people. And it's also creating division. People are having more stress in their families. There's more alcoholism, more drug abuse, more child abuse, more sex abuse, all increased stressors over these last couple of years. So for you to have a healthy metabolism, you got to look at what can you do, whether that's meditation, whether that's exercise, whether that's supplementation, whether that's cutting caffeine. Many, many people, if you made just a couple of modifications in your habits, you could really have a different level of health over the next 3, 6, 12 months. And of course, that really affects your metabolism. Burning out your stress hormones increases metabolism. Additionally, in a negative way. Additionally, toxicity. So, for instance, heavy metal toxicity that are in shots, heavy metal toxicity that might be in your mouth, heavy metal toxicity that's in cheap powders. So, for instance, like when somebody says, "Oh yeah, I got my protein powder at GNC or Walmart," it's like, you might not know this, but they tend to be full of bacteria. They're high heat processed. They can be heavy metal toxic. They're not tested for purity. The same thing with, taking omega-3s from Walmart or Walgreens or whatever. A lot of them aren't tested for purity. The omega-3s are squeezed out of like the scales of the fish, and so they tend to be high heavy metal toxic. Now, again, are they always? No, but of course, companies often offering cheap supplements are not testing for purity, so you can get toxicity from there. I mean, there's just so many spots. I've quoted this and I say it every time, but I don't know of a better quote than the Dr. Jack Wolfson quote from the book, The Paleocardiologist, when he talks about the average American in 2010 comes in contact with more toxicity in 2 days than somebody 100 years before came in contact with in their entire life. God gave you detox organs, your skin, your liver, your kidneys, but we're in a time where we are toxifying people at a level that's unprecedented. And in my opinion, to be at your healthiest, to have a healthy metabolism, to not have a bunch of visceral and toxic fat, detoxing it is an essential part of life. And I run into so many people that just flat out don't know anything about it. And it's a big deal in metabolism. Deficiencies, B vitamin deficiencies can negatively affect metabolism. Deficiencies, for instance, in CoQ10. So like for those people that take statins, your metabolism to turn food into energy is a stair-step approach. You consume food, your body breaks it down, and then it has to metabolize it into the energy sources to get into each individual cell to essentially burn what's called ATP. And you might remember that from high school chemistry, but there's all sorts of coenzymes and cofactors. And it turns out that drugs inhibit many of the cofactors that cause energy. It turns out that things like Roundup and glyphosate and a lot of the chemicals that you spray in your yard or residues are in your non-organic food, they can inhibit production. CBD oil, CBD is on the rage. So many people are trying CBD at this point. Well, if you read the books on it, what is CBD? CBD replaces endocannabinoids, which your body is supposed to be able to produce, but because of our current life and lifestyle, they're inhibited in many people. So again, for instance, Roundup or glyphosate that you might spray on your weeds, or it's sprayed on all sorts of crops, inhibits endocannabinoid production in the body. And so if you get deficient in it, CBD can replace it and therefore make you less inflamed, help with all sorts of other ailments. But why do we even need it? We need it because of chemicals that are being sprayed on all sorts of stuff and then are being consumed. So deficiencies in nutrients, and good news, we have the best in integrative medical. We have the best test possible to look for your deficiencies to help you replace it, supplement it. And we're going to go through that a lot more in the next one, but deficiencies are a big deal. Exercise, so metabolism, the more muscle you have, the more metabolism you're going to have. So if you want to have more metabolism, this is why higher intensity exercise is so very important. Running, doing jumping jacks, push-ups, sit-ups, squats, whatever it might be, going to an exercise class and doing Zumba, but more muscle equals more metabolism. And so for people that do not exercise, or they don't prioritize exercise, or they foo-foo it, or they're quote unquote afraid to go to the gym, whatever it might be, exercise is a big deal for metabolism. It's also a big deal for your immune system. And lastly, I already dabbled in, but energy production. Your body needs all these cofactors, coenzymes for production. And again, fat is your most efficient energy storage. That's why people retain body fat. Sugar is a short-term, response. So if you're running a marathon, you absolutely should. You need simple sugars. But for most people, they're not exercising enough. They're not burning enough carbohydrates to really need the level of simple sugars. Somebody asked me the other day about oatmeal. It's like, hey, my cholesterol's up. Should I eat oatmeal? Oh, Quaker Oats bought the heart healthy logo. Quaker Oats is not heart healthy. I mean, that's simple. They've taken most of the good stuff out of it. They strip the oils and the minerals and all that and just given the high carb flake, and yet they can stamp heart healthy. I can understand if you were frustrated how much lying can be done in the American food and drug industry and how much corruption there is. I'm not on here saying that I have a perfect solution or that I could do everything perfectly. That is not the point. What I am saying is you are responsible for educating yourself, because if you take all those drugs, if you listen to the basic labels, if you follow, sadly, even what's taught in high schools right now, you are set up for failure. And so, how do you get energy? Well, again, do the things that get you off drugs, that allow your body to metabolize. Follow our advanced eating plan, which I'm going to go into in just a moment. Exercise, detox, figure out your deficiencies, and lower your stress level. And if you do those things, your metabolism is going to go up. It's going to help where you store the fat. It's going to help how you look. It's going to help the energy that you have, the sleep that you have, the diseases that you avoid or reverse or manage over time. But these are my main thoughts on metabolism. And then we're going to start going into some action steps and some action items. So, like I said here, if you look at this, understand what's metabolism. Food gets digested and turned into energy. That's what metabolism is. That's why it's not just weight loss, because there are skinny fat people. And what I mean by that, there are some very skinny people that are type 2 diabetics. There are some very skinny people who are still going to have a heart attack or cancer or whatever, because their body's just not functioning properly. Metabolic disorders, when we talk about metabolism, we're talking about a heck of a lot more than how much you weigh. High blood pressure is a metabolic disorder. High cholesterol, heart disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes, many autoimmune disorders, thyroid dysfunctions, polycystic ovarian syndrome, infertility can be a metabolism disorder. Some very good friends of mine just got pregnant after they did the Metabolics program. They were getting adjusted, and when they started getting adjusted, they had one of their children, and then they had some issues, and then they both did the metabolics disorder or metabolics program, and they just so happened to get pregnant. Now, again, am I guaranteeing pregnancy? Absolutely not. But what does it do? It helps balance hormones. It helps show your body. There's all sorts of things like Cushing's, cancer, fatty liver disease, arthritis. When people have arthritis in their hands, they'll hold their hands up and they'll be like, I'm starting to look like my mom or my dad. And it's like, hey, your hands are one of the best barometers for arthritis and total body inflammation. And if you're getting it in your hands and you don't like work with your hands every minute of every day, like in factory work or something like that, like that's a sign you need to do something different. Chronic pain is also inflammation, and there's so many more. So when we're talking metabolism or metabolic disorders, you really need to look at if you qualify for any of those, and I'm going to read these too. Heavy fatigue after you eat, suppressed appetite, like you're just not even hungry, but you're putting on weight. I have some good friends of mine who have had to make some changes because they'll say, I don't eat this much, I don't eat that much, or I don't eat that bad to be this heavy. Circulation issues, low libido, PMS or bloating around women's anxiety, depression, all affect metabolic disease. Hair loss. When people's hair is growing like crazy, like sometimes we'll have people say after they start taking our multivitamins, start eating healthier, they're like, I got to get my hair cut more. I got to cut my fingernails more. They're so thick. My hair is so thick. It's like, well, you're having excess nutrients and it's being put into your hair and nails. Insomnia, irritability, I already mentioned obesity. Some of the toxins like BPA and plastics, atrazine. It's been a while since I talked about this, but I remember, 10, 12 years ago being in school, and atrazine was eliminated by the state of Wisconsin. Like it couldn't be sprayed on crops anymore. And so, I was like, oh, that's, we're making some progress. And then all of a sudden, atrazine was still okay in Wisconsin. And it was like, I asked an agronomist that had a district up there, and I go, what's the deal with this? I thought atrazine caused cancer. It was getting in the groundwater. It was killing people. And he's like, yeah, but they could quote it, for $38 million, whoever they paid, whatever they did, apparently it's fine again. We look back and look at, drug companies buying seed companies, because when their chemicals that they spray on these crops lost their patents and they were going to lose their ability to make billions of dollars, they just bought up the seed companies and made genetic traits in the in the seeds, so that, yeah, the chemical may be cheap, but the seed went up 1,000% in cost. And a friend of mine takes care of one of the owners of one of these huge companies, and I'll tell you, I don't necessarily think they're evil, or they're doing it all for, like, that person, that family, they eat organic, they get adjusted, they do. And so if you ask them, why does your company have all these chemicals, and they say, well, we're trying to feed the world. They say, I don't think farmers, here in America should be using it. I think we should be doing it in third world countries, but I can't control everybody. And if they buy my product, it's like, think about this. It's just not the same. And so these things you're putting in your body, I mean, in the last 30 years, so if you're over 30 years old, you lived in an America that had less than 10% genetic modification. It's been over these last 30 to 32 years that we've gone from less than 10% genetic modified crops to over 90%. So we are literally an experiment. And so where you're investing your money, remember when you talk about metabolism, the book, The Omnivore's Dilemma, talks about total American spending. Now, this is almost 20 years ago, but they're comparing it to 1950s. And they said America has spent 25% of their disposable income on food and healthcare. It just used to be 20% on food and 5% on healthcare. Now it's 5% of disposable income on food and 20% on healthcare. And how many people are seeing that with radical deductibles? I love the show The Office, and the first season in the early 2000s, they're complaining about a $1,200 deductible. Some of you watching this are paying hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month. And I pay for $2,000 a month for a $6,000 deductible. It's like, it's not even healthcare. It's sick care, and we're paying a ton for it. And then people talk about the expense of food. I mean, I would just really, really challenge you to look at, is this the way I want to go for myself and my family? What can I do to help with the metabolism? Because it's not like the current recommendations are giving us a better outcome. Year after year, America is fatter. Year after year, there's more diabetes, more heart disease, and more cancer. The solutions, they talk about a race for a cure. The cure is in the prevention. And so, unfortunately, like I had a lady in this week, she goes, I hate this drug for my cancer, but it's free from my insurance. And if I want to take a similar supplement that doesn't have all the side effects, I have to spend $60, $80, $100 a month. I mean, the solution, unfortunately, the government cannot help you with this in its current setup. You are responsible for your health. Hopefully someday it's different, but right now it is just not a reality. Now I want to talk about calorie cutting. Calorie cutting is a great way to absolutely destroy your metabolism. So like starvation, severe portion control, 95% of fad diets where you buy the food products, 95% of people gain the weight back within 6 months. That's across all diets where you're paying for the food. So think about that. We're at the most expensive programs out there where you pay for the food. 95% of them, people gain their weight back within 6 months. There's got to be something different. It also jacks up your hormones, throws off so many other things. Higher cancer rate. They tend to be full of preservatives. So what do you need to do? Look at things that are more natural. Your body is built to fast for periods of time. So one of the things that can really help your metabolism and help you turn into burning more fat and having less hunger is to intermittent fast. So that's where you hear people say, I don't eat after 8 p.m. and I don't eat before 8 p.m. So like, for instance, intermittent fasting, in my opinion, is at least 12-hour gaps without eating. So there's a few people who have like unique work schedules, and maybe they have 2 meals and then they have 10-hour gaps on either side of those meals. But for the overwhelming majority of people, you should be picking a time range that you don't eat between. So the minimum would be 12 hours. So like 6 to 6 or 8 to 8. Some people might do 14 or 16 hours. You have to be careful when you get up into like 18 hours of fasting or 20 hours of fasting, because sometimes you won't get enough calories. you won't get enough protein, and it can have a reverse effect, especially if you do it more than a few months in a row. But intermittent fasting is a great way to kickstart your metabolism. And part of the reason it's so important is when you don't have food chronically coming in, your body will start to burn your body fat as fuel, but it needs to be trained. So again, one action step today, intermittent fasting. It helps you burn fat while you're sleeping. Additionally, so I started to reference this, your basal metabolic rate. How many calories do you burn versus somebody else? There's some people, they talk about the 2,000 calorie diet. I can tell you personally, with the fitness level that I see a lot of people in, the nutritional, there's some people who should be eating 3,500 or 4,000 calories a day because they absolutely burn through them and retain their muscle mass and their fitness level. They need to consume a lot more calories. Other people need to consume less because they just don't have the muscle, they don't have the metabolism. But again, if you want to look at what's your metabolism compared to your age, again, ask us at the office and we will do a customized weight scale for you, and we'll check. We'll see what your weight is. We'll see what your body type is. We'll see what your visceral fat is, your body water percentage, and either a staff member or your doctor will go over that with you in the at the office, and then we'll even give you a printout so you can take it home and look at it, and hopefully that will motivate you to take some action steps to be better. But we have that test at the office now. So again, respond in the comments if you'd like to do a weight scale. Private message us on Facebook, shoot us an email, or ask in the office, and that will be good starting Monday all through the next few weeks. We will do that completely complimentary for you, and then also talk with you about action steps to do so. So just say, hey, can I do my weigh-in and my metabolic age, again, starting Monday. Now, beyond that, let's talk about some ideas for firing up your metabolism. Now, you could do this entire challenge. You could do parts of this challenge. It just kind of depends on what you want to do. But I'm going to go ahead and put this slide up. This would be something to take a picture of, but we're going to kind of work through why each of these things would be valuable for you to do. So look at this and say, take a picture of it, and then say, what can I commit to doing? What do I want to do? Do I want to do all of it? Do I want to do part of it? But we're going to start with progress pictures. Now, in general, when I'm in the gym, I say, no, I can tell you I've never taken a picture like this in the mirror. But at home, in your bathroom mirror, if you're trying to stay motivated to lose weight or to get more fit or more cut or more whatever, it's tough to see the differences if you don't anchor some objective data. So this is why taking a progress picture every day or once a week, every Monday or something like that, and really charting your progress is a big, big deal. Hydrate. One of the reasons why I talked about on the customized weight scale with your metabolic age is there is a direct inverse ratio of body fat to body water. So the more body fat you have, the less water you retain. So dehydrated people actually tend to retain body fat more. So you can be dehydrated from not getting enough water, you can be dehydrated from too much caffeine, and you can be dehydrated from too much alcohol. So the bare minimum is half your body weight in ounces plus the same amount of ounces of water for every caffeinated beverage you have. So if you weigh 200 pounds and you drink 16 ounces of coffee a day, you need to drink 100 ounces of water for your body weight and 16 extra ounces for the coffee that you're drinking. So 116 ounces. I can't tell you how many people tell me, hey, I'm really doing good. I'm drinking 64 ounces of water a day. And they're like 250 pounds or something. These are not my rules. This is just some of the scientific facts that people being dehydrated is a serious issue in metabolism, weight gain, retention. Reading. So exercise your mind just like you exercise your body. There's so many studies that 75% of people don't read a book after college. 80% of people that graduate from high school, don't read another book. I mean, reading fuels you. If you get off social media, you're probably watching this on social media, so it's interesting to say, but get off social media, stimulate your mind on a topic. If you want to be more motivated to be healthy, read a book on health. Most of you watching this have the Align Your Health book or the cruise ship or nursing home book. If you need a book to read, I'll give you one. I have hundreds of books at the clinic. A great book to read would be our Align Your Health book. That gives you ideas on supplementation, food, exercise, shopping lists. I mean, all sorts of stuff. The Paleocardiologist, if you want a copy of that book, I'll give you a copy. You can learn all about the benefits of natural things that are going to help your heart beat stronger. I mean, there's just, reading is a big deal. So one of the things in the challenge is to read 10 pages a day. Now, some of this candidly comes off the craze right now, 75 hard. Tons of my friends have done 75 hard. And now that is like this to the next level. We're adjusting. Some of you that are watching this are on your second or third round of 75 hard. Dr. Kyle is actually doing 75 hard right now. 75 days of 2 45-minute workouts a day, a gallon of water a day, 10 pages of reading, a customized eating program. It's just really designed to create habits, because habits are where change occurs. Studies show, and I fully agree with, when you change your habits, this is where you get a long-term outcome. When you see people make a change for a week that they despise the change the entire time, this is where you run into problems. So I hesitate when I say a 45-minute workout, because really this 45-minute workout could be yoga. It could be running, but with some stretching. Like if you were going to run, for instance, I actually would encourage you to only run for, let's say, 30 minutes, but to stretch and to be ready and to get warmed up and maybe do some spinal rehab around it. But picking a workout, ideally a high intensity workout where your heart rate gets really high for at least 6 minutes, but intervals of more intense. You can do this in a trainer. You can go to classes at the YMCA, Peak, wherever. You can do just a lot of different stuff that really can improve you. No alcohol or cheat meals. So if you're going to do an eating program, don't have cheat meals for a period of time, whether that's 30 days, 14 days, whatever you're picking. In the core plan, the more basic plan, we encourage you to pick how many cheat meals you're going to have. That's going to help protect your habits. So for instance, like in a 7-day week, we encourage people to have, let's say, 3 cheat meals and 1 cheat snack. So really 6 out of 7 are good. 1 out of 7 aren't great, but it helps you create the habits of eating more salads or eating more, and you define it. Now, alcohol, on the old advanced plan, it used to actually talk about either clear alcohol or red wine, because they have all the sugar distilled out of them. Alcohol is produced by sugar, but what they've also shown is that the transition or the metabolism, the breakdown of alcohol, turns it back into a ketone or sugar-like substance. And so, alcohol at higher amounts in one sitting really can cause an issue for metabolism or weight loss. It also throws off your gut bacteria. It has just a lot of different things. So the purpose of the advanced plan is to help turn your body into more of a fat burning mode, detoxify your body, reduce inflammation, and help your body balance hormones. Now, if you're taking notes, this is an important thing. So the 5 parts of the advanced plan. So cut all refined sugars completely. That means no breads, no pastas, no rices, no simple carbs whatsoever. You're also going to cut out any moderate or high glycemic fruits. You can look up on Google, ask Siri what high glycemic fruits are. But the simplest thing for low glycemic fruits are what's in this picture. Berries, green apples, lemons, limes, grapefruit, things like that. Things that are a little more sour, don't taste like they have quite as much sugar. All vegetables except super starchy vegetables like potatoes. You're going to moderate your protein. What does that mean? Moderating your protein means no more than 30 grams, which is 6 ounces of meat in any given meal or any given 2 to 3 hour period. You're going to try and increase healthy fats and avoid toxicity. So very simple, very straightforward. If you want better action steps to that. Open up your book, chapters 3 and 4, or 4 and 5, depending on which book you're in. Appendix A. And like I said, if you don't have a book and you're an active client of ours, I'm happy to give you one. So that's the advanced plan. That's part of the challenge as well. Again, I'm going to put this up. Here's a simple shopping list, but here's some ideas for things that you can use if you're looking for what do you get on the advanced plan. So go ahead and screenshot that as well. And then another simple thing, let's say you're like, I'm not sure I can commit to all these action steps, but I could just do like a protein shake. I played basketball earlier this morning. I have my protein shake that has the Max Living chocolate protein powder, the whey one, and a scoop of Max Greens. So, I mean, I do this every time I work out, right after or during. So consuming a men's multivitamin or women's multivitamin, kids multivitamin with a meal. So if you're looking for a simple thing to curb your craving that's healthy for you, protein is really good for your metabolism because it takes quite a bit of energy to break down protein. And so these are some of the things. I'm just going to kind of cycle through them. Here's some of the supplement options that you might want to choose. So protein, I mentioned Max. I think the whey breaks down the easiest for breakfast smoothies. When I do breakfast smoothies, I use the Pure Path protein. I think it tastes a little better, a little sweeter, high minerality, but it doesn't shake up quite as easy in the shaker. Max Greens, because so many people are not getting enough greens. Greens have the Max Greens. So these are daily essentials. This is our multivitamin, omega-3, magnesium, a bunch of different things put together all in one. But Max Greens is something I think a lot of people could really enjoy because greens have, the chlorophyll, which is how plants use sunlight to make energy. And it's been shown that humans also can do that. They can take some of the energy from green fruits and vegetables. My wife and I love to juice in the morning. We get fresh raw juice every week from Elixir Juice Company right here in Rockford. But for a lot of times on the go, I'll use Max Greens. Again, whey or plant protein and detox. The detox system, I'm not going to go into that today, but that's a great way to help with metabolism. 50% of Americans, it's estimated, struggle to continue to lose weight because they have too much toxicity and it will cause their body to restore body fat. We also have Max Green capsules. If you don't like the taste, you can take Max Green capsules. And then here's something that never before have I recommended, but Max Living has put together this great product called Metabolics Burn. So if you're looking to help your body stimulate your metabolism and you would like to have a little bit of natural help, Metabolics Burn, you're going to take with 2 pills with breakfast and 2 pills with lunch. You can either order it on the website at rockford.maxliving.com, or we've just recently ordered it. It is on back order, but we'll have it at the office soon. And so Metabolics Burn is another nice product that can just really help you get results better, faster, and at a level that's just really going to help you be the best version of yourself. So if you know you have a metabolic issue, if you have any of the risk factors, the high blood pressures, high cholesterol, if you know you're obese or overweight, you have a great opportunity, and I would even argue responsibility to be there for the people you love and care about, to be a healthy version, to even if you're talking about immune system response, healthy people are less likely to get sick, have severe illness, or be as contagious because their body tends to kill off the infection faster. So again, even if you're talking about a social service, I mean, the healthier you are, the better you are for society, for yourself, your family, your friends, the people you love and care about. Kicking into the next seminar this Tuesday, I'm going to talk about our programs of increasing metabolism, and I'm also going to touch on our Max Metabolics program, which is our relaunch of our mountain program, now able to be billed a big chunk of it through insurance, which is just fantastic, but also great options regardless of what your insurance covers. And this is that next tier that's going to allow you to look at what are your deficiencies, your toxicities, how do I get a customized program through Landra, through McKenzie, through our all the services that we provide at Integrative Medical and Chiropractic First of Rockford. Thank you for watching. Invest in yourself. Take action. I hope you have a very blessed day. See ya.